you do not want everything political. You don't want to politicize everything or make everything political. And there are very specific and very good reasons for that. When things are in the sphere of politics, a lot of the times reasoning kind of goes out the window because politics, especially in the nature it is in our present time, politics has a kind of tribal nature to it. Your political tribe is the tribe you want to govern your society. That's not a small thing. And because of that, you don't want to put everything into the sphere of the tribe that governs my society, how I want my entire society to run. Because things tend to get blown sometimes out of proportion when they're put into that important of an arena, such as politics, or you politicize it. And we're seeing that, for example, in the pandemic that we're going through right now. The pandemic, a lot of the negatives and the difficulties that we are facing right now in the pandemic, I would put quite a bit of that on the shoulders of early politicizing of certain topics. And for example, there's a Twitter account, I believe, that does this as its specialty. It goes from, I believe, 2020 or 2019 and takes posts from people, prominent people on Twitter, and then they take posts from them from this year and contrast them and show you that a lot of the things they are saying are actually just political in nature. Someone last year would have been lambasting vaccines. No way they could have done this in time. I will never trust one of these Trump vaccines. And that same person now would be saying things like, I have no idea why someone would be so unreasonable to not trust a vaccine. Can't you see it? Because you have politicized it. So when it seems like this one thing belongs to a specific side, it becomes difficult to deal with the issues. Anyway, all of that is to say, you don't want to politicize everything. And in Trinidad, how we deal with not politicizing everything and still getting things to function in our society is that we have commissions. And commissions are a strange thing because they aren't exactly democratically elected because no one votes for them, at least we don't. But the intention is that you could move certain things into what we would hope to be an independent sphere, that these commissions can function outside the realm of politics and do things that are just purely on the benefit of country. Now, if we're being honest, we know they don't really function like that. But for quite some time, at least, there was some semblance of an illusion that that could be what is happening. Now, I think a lot of these commissions are a bit under attack, and we're starting to see the difficulties with actually keeping them neutral or actually keeping the perceived neutrality of these commissions. So that's what I'm speaking about today. The commissions. The Police Service Commission is in a long-standing battle right now, trying to pull itself back. And then there's another story now recently coming out that the Integrity Commission, I have some problems with the Integrity Commission myself, but the Integrity Commission is also seeing some difficulties. So let's get right into it. Before we do that, make sure to tap that like button if you haven't done that yet. Make sure it's selected. Drop a comment if you have something to say. Let me know what you think. Make sure you let me know you're listening out there. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe now and share the video to those who may like this kind of content. Okay, so Hold Your Complaint, a Daily Express story from November 20th. Police Service Commission staff instructed not to communicate with new commissioners. Acting Director of Personnel Administration Corey Harrison has instructed staff of the Police Service Commission Secretariat to not communicate with the new Police Service Commission chaired by Justice Judith Jones. That's kind of a tongue twister. Justice Judith Jones. Okay. On November 11th, 2021, a day after the names of the 5 Police Service Commission members were approved by Parliament, a virtual meeting was convened with staff where Harrison made it clear that no one should send any letter or complaint about any commissioner to him. He also assured that there is no threat to their jobs. Harrison expressed disappointment, saying it was despicable that a staff member would go to Oropuch East MP, Dr. Rudal Munilal, with their concerns, which he raised in Parliament. Alright, so here's the backstory of this. Apparently some staff wrote to Dr. Munilal, the MP, and wrote without the knowledge of their superiors, and they told them about some goings on inside the commission, apparently something that happened before that didn't leave too good of an impression about one of the new commissioners. So apparently he was in and around the commission before. So what Munilal said during the debate was that he warned that letters of complaint would be written about one of them if he were approved. He expressed concern about nominees Ian Kevin Ramdani and Maxine King. Munilal said the matter about Ramdani distressed him. Now, listen how this is phrased, how it obviously casts a kind of aspersion without getting specific at all, leaving you to just wonder what exactly he's speaking about. He said if Ramdani was before him, he would ask whether or not he was conflicted by an appointment to the Police Service Commission, bearing in mind a previous interfacing with staff at the Police Service Commission that compromised their position and undermined human resource management, and indeed undermined the employment status of employees at the Police Service Commission. Munilal said a Police Service Commission employee had indicated to him that people Ramdani interfaced with were prepared to write the new Police Service Commission chairman and the Director of Personnel Administration about Ramdani's previous conduct. Munilal said it was not only one member of staff who raised the concern, it was multiple members. So this was the basis upon which Mr. Corey Harrison, who is the Director of Personnel Administration, this was the basis he called the virtual meeting on. And in this virtual meeting, he kind of laid out on some of the staff. Understand this, you belong to the Service Commission's department, so therefore you do not report to the chairman or any member of the Police Service Commission. Any member. He went on in much more words to iterate to his staff that should they have any complaint, anything they would like to say, they cannot go directly to any one of the commissioners. No, they must go through him or through someone he appoints, someone within that department, which I could kind of understand if there's some general hierarchy where it is supposed to go, there's established procedure for that. But strangely, later on in the meeting, or later on in his statement, he went on to say some things that seemed a bit contradictory to that. Harrison again chided the staff for talking to Munilal and instructed that any complaint letter be held. Nobody is supposed to stand up in Parliament and discredit our institution that we have been working so hard to fix after what it is went on previously. And I understand the sentiment from someone who is high up, but if your institution deserves discrediting, or if there's some nefarious or wrong things going on in and around the institution, then the blame isn't on the person who told their MP. The blame would be on the people in the institution who are making it go wrongly. You are to report to the executive director, the deputy, or myself. Now I'm baffled because, based on Parliament, I understand that I'm supposed to get a letter. I advise you to keep that letter to yourself. I advise you to keep that letter to yourself because there is no threat from any member of the commission because you do not report to any member of the commission, he said. Now, that I don't agree with. If you're telling them that they don't report to the members of the commission, then shouldn't they be reporting to you? Shouldn't that letter they have, that they may have a problem with something in their employment situation, shouldn't that be sent to you? Who else would it be sent to? I don't understand that one. The article, the journalist contacted the Mr. Harrison to make sure that what they got was correct, that the source they had was on point, and Mr. Harrison basically told them, I said what I said, and you well heard what I said. You could read the article. I changed up the words, obviously, but he reiterated what he said, and he said he stands with it. When asked about what will happen about any letter of complaint, Harrison questioned what exactly the complaint is. Now that is the actions. I know this is a job situation, but that is the actions of an abusive person. I don't know the man personally, but this is speaking in general. When someone asks you about what would happen about a complaint over this wrongdoing, then you go into, well, we have to find out what exactly the complaint is, because there's some knowledge there, knowing that he would be someone in higher authority, that some people may not be willing to come out in the open and voice a complaint. So if you would like to know what the complaint is about, then shouldn't you be welcoming the letters? Shouldn't you be saying to your staff that please do write to me and let me know precisely what the issue is? This person is supposed to be at the head, basically, of the human resource part of the commission. So if the human resource of the commission has a problem, shouldn't you be the one welcoming them to bring that problem to you so that you can fix the esteemed name of this commission that you're so trying to do? That doesn't make sense to me. At least how he says that there. Monilal calls for an apology, of course. In a telephone interview with Sunday Express yesterday, an angry Monilal called on Harrison to apologize and said he intends to write the Joint Select Committee on Public Administration. I intend to write that committee to summon the Director of Personnel Administration, acting to ask him to explain his conduct. Now, this is where things could tend to get testy, because if now the chief of the human resource department, that's not his title, but that's basically what he is, in the commission, is at loggerheads with the opposition, who is already showing themselves to be out at loggerheads with the president who appoints the commission, it could paint the picture that the commission is now on the other side of the political divide. And the Police Service Commission, this commission isn't supposed to be something like that. It's supposed to at least have the appearance of neutrality. But if the person that controls the staff seems to be moving with friction with an opposition MP, I just don't think that's a wise look. And if only for that reason, being a human resource professional, I'd have expected him to try to handle this a little wiser than that. It's politics you're dealing with. And if the person contacted the MP before, and then you come to say this again, don't you expect that they'd contact them again? That seems obvious to me. So everything you would have said in that virtual meeting, you should have expected would become public. And do you really want to be in a public spat with a high-ranking member of the opposition while being at the head of the human resource department in what is supposed to be one of the neutral commissions in the country? That just isn't a wise look to me. But it's not just the Police Service Commission seeing some staffing issues. It's also going on at the Integrity Commission too. Another Daily Express article, commence at Integrity Commission. A plethora of letters of complaint have been written to several public authorities about the chairman of the Integrity Commission, Rajendra Ramlogan, particularly his manner of dealing with staff. Among the authorities which have received letters of complaint are President Paula Mayweeks. She is having quite an end of the year in the middle of a lot of these issues. The Director of Personnel Administration, the head of the Public Service, the Equal Opportunity Commission, Public Service Commission, and the Public Services Association. This was confirmed by former head of investigations at the Integrity Commission, Richard Frederick, a former Assistant Commissioner of Police, who has held the senior position at the Integrity Commission since 2011. Files containing statements from staff members detailing the complaints about the abusive behavior of the official have gone to all these agencies, Frederick said. Now, I found this article a bit unique because, for once, one of these kind of stories that names a specific person that people are having a problem with has a specific person lodging the complaint too. They have a named source in the article. And I feel I could understand why this named source could speak and be a named source. Because when you read the CV of this person, he would have been the former head of investigations at the Integrity Commission, but also he was a former Assistant Commissioner of Police. So I think he may be feeling like he isn't that worried about his situation there. But he came out and he is speaking openly about some of the problems the staff are seeing at the Integrity Commission. I have worked with the Integrity Commission, this is him speaking, since March 2011. I have worked with 4 previous chairmen, Dr. Eric Sinsay, Ken Gordon, retired Justice Zainul Hossain, retired Justice Melville Baird, and this is the first time that we have had this kind of toxic environment, he said. People are afraid to talk because you are a contract employee and you say anything off and you are out on the road, Frederick said. Now that I have heard that people have messaged me about, because I do get some messages privately about certain stories, etc. And people have messaged me and said that when a lot of the vaccine worry was at the height, some people were worried about their positions as contract workers. And it seems a lot of places within the public service are doing that now, where they hire workers predominantly on a contract basis. And these workers have to be walking on eggshells because you're worried that at the drop of a pin, you could lose your job. And what that actually does. Now, I have my problems with the public service on a whole. I think it is bloated, it takes a lot of money from the country, and it doesn't provide the efficient labor that we should be seeing in return for it. That's that. But as it is, the public service already exists, and there's already a system, a hierarchy in place. And if you have it that these contract workers come in there, what you're actually doing is giving an outsized amount of power to their seniors, because their seniors are now able to fire them much easier than they would have even if they were junior staff, but permanent junior staff. And why are you doing this? I really don't understand this. Can someone explain this to me? Why is our country hiring everyone only on a contract basis? And then when you answer that, can you answer to me why so many of the people, even in the senior positions above the contract workers, are just acting? So it's either your contract or acting. That doesn't seem to make for an efficient and sensible working environment and work efficiency. Frederick said the chairman told him that he was appointed by the president for his management skills and was told by her to go and clean up the mess at the Integrity Commission. Other members of staff confirmed Ram Logan said this to the staff when he first assumed office in January and repeated the statement since then. And apparently he has been on a one-man mission trying to clean up the Integrity Commission, whatever that means. And in his methods to try to clean it up, he has been mashing many toes. Even so much until one member of staff actually lodged an official complaint with the Equal Opportunities Commission over how things went down when she lost that job. And here's the thing. Even when she left there, she went to another commission. So if you're cleaning up the mess there and you're saying that these workers are causing the mess, then why would you send them to another commission? Wouldn't that just move the mess to another area that would be assuming around the same importance if it's a commission? That doesn't actually make sense, and it doesn't actually clean up the mess that you're saying you're trying to clean up. Exodus at the commission. There has been an exodus from the Integrity Commission with about 10 employees having left this year. 10 could sound like a little bit until you understand that the commission has about 25 workers, a majority of contract officers who have been with the commission for varying periods, but most recently by virtue of short-term contracts. But of course, Mr. Frederick isn't just speaking in this totally from an above and outside position. He had experience with it. Frederick, who was on medical leave between January and April, said when he returned to the office on April 6th, Ram Logan introduced himself to him and immediately told him that he would be replacing him as head of the investigation section. That's brutal. Hi, welcome, I'm your new boss. You're fired. Okay. His replacement, Nichelle Mitchell, assumed the position at the beginning of this month. After Ram Logan told Frederick he would be replaced, Frederick subsequently received a letter dated June 28th, signed by all the members of the commission, on the issue of the renewal of his contract. The letter stated that the commissioners had a number of concerns in the context of a performance appraisal. Now, you could go through the article. I'm not going to read everything. You could read specifically what their problems were with the chief of investigations here. But the general idea was they found that he wasn't doing enough of his job. There were several investigations that they wanted done that weren't done. There were several investigations that they wanted started that they didn't choose to start. And I guess that is part of the reason that they let him go. The letter pointed to other shortcomings in the management of complaints under the Frederick stewardship, noting that there were 15 outstanding investigations, with some going back to 2013. It also cited an alleged underlying cynicism among investigators who, the letter said, tended to focus on the shortcomings of the Integrity in Public Life Act rather than working with the powers the Act gave them. It said this was reflected in a statement Frederick made to the chairman to the effect that the real problem lay in the direction of Parliament in the legislation, and that he further stated no one gives a dog teeth to bite them. And I fully agree with Frederick. And I think some of these commission members would be playing throw the blame around, because if we could let go of the investigators, we would say that's the real problem. But if you read the Integrity in Public Life Act, the investigators are right. And remember, most of these investigators, as the head of investigations would have been former police officers. As a police, they would have been accustomed to some teeth. When we notice something is wrong, we could go arrest someone. We could do something about the wrong and the crime we're seeing. But the Integrity Commission is just there as a toothless dog to see what is going on. There are people who haven't made and declared their assets. I did a story on this. There was a point in time, every story I did on a politician, I'd go through that list. There are many people in public life right now coming and pontificating to you about honesty and uprightness, who haven't declared how they are making their money to the Integrity Commission, and the Commission does nothing. So I kind of don't blame Mr. Frederick at all, and it seems like some of the blame is trying to be shifted. The letter also complained about the inability of the chairman to contact Frederick by phone. So he can't get you on phone, and that is part of the problem too. Frederick said that at a meeting with the investigators, Ram Logan had instructed them that whenever they are submitting files on an investigation that is complete, they must attach an executive summary, because one member of the commission indicated that he or she did not have time to read files as they were occupied with their private practice. Frederick said that despite a number of investigative matters being completed by the investigations department, the commission has not dealt with one investigation for the year. So the commission, or the commission members, the commissioners, blame the investigators. But the head of the investigators is saying that they have done some investigations and not one has been dealt with. So you're a toothless dog running down a trail, and you actually find the scent of something, and you bark, you're trying to bring the hunters. And if you're not following the analogy, the commission members would be the hunters in this analogy. You're barking because you don't have any teeth. You cannot do any biting. You're barking trying to bring the hunters. And the hunters, they're still back at the camp doing nothing. And then the hunters shoot the dog. Or in this case, fire the dog. But in the analogy, shoot the dog and say they shot the dog because the dog is unable to catch any prey. Whose fault is that really? Drop a comment and tell me. That's all I have for now. I hope you were educated, informed, or entertained. And stay tuned. I'll see you in the next video.
And you feel the music rising with the time.